Echo of the Silent, Part 1. Mom, what are you doing with that bottle? Mom, please, no. Where is Dad? Asked a gentle, young female voice. Dad is. He couldn't handle your speak anymore. God is punishing us for our sins, the older woman replied. This is his righteous judgment. Please accept his wisdom. Mom, wait a minute. Let's think about this for a second, pleaded the girl, but it was hopeless. Time to think has passed. God's work must be done by his too. No, ah! Vile shuddered, leaving her wallowing in pain. The girl screamed for her mother to help, but it was muffled by the sound of acid boiling away at her skin. Another dream. Fun memories. It's all I have now in this boring confinement. How long have I been here for? A few weeks? A month? No idea. Haven't seen the light of a day or another human for a long time. It's okay. I don't need either. As long as I can feel him close to me, his scent, his aura, his presence, the touch of his skin. How I long to finally meet him. It's okay, just wait a little longer for me. I'm coming, and soon we'll both be happy and free together. The girl thought to herself. Bzzz. Miss Bell, I need you to walk towards the door and place your back on the sample plate. I'm very sorry for the trouble. Bzzz, said a male voice from beyond the speaker. I could do that if I knew where the plate was. It's hard to navigate in complete darkness, you know? She responded sharply to his order. Bzzz. Please follow the sound from the speaker to navigate the room. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Bzzz. The voice guided her towards the plate for another sampling. In total silence, a quiet friction of a small plate shifting and a needle precisely harvested to a spinal fluid. It was inhumane to keep someone in those conditions and to do with them whatever they wanted. Still, no one outside of this place knew what was going on or that this place even existed. She sighed and thought to herself, it's fine. After all, I'm the one who wanted to be here. Painful, but it's okay. They need to know everything about me to let me into the city. Unfortunately, my samples are quite unstable, to put it lightly. Everything for you, my darling. September began to pass, turning into October, as the first Academy for Influenced People of the United Federation of the Pacific welcomed new students. Juniors of this facility were taken from all around the country. Instead of continuing their education in traditional high schools, pursuing normal careers and dreams, they were forced into a military life. They can still pursue other jobs, but the expectation is present. As the third enrollment, their educational program was already designed. While it still had some issues, it focused strictly on developing students as individuals, rather than molding them into tools, understanding why certain things happen to them, to their bodies, and how they can turn this curse into a blessing. Or at least that's what the public statement says. Class 1A was made up of the most promising candidates. It was also the first year to be filled with peers of the same age, instead of making a massive mess among the students. Filled with colorful heads, all well built and some even very muscular. None of them looked like teenagers anymore. While the classroom looked a lot more like a lab, it was filled with small, wide desks from which semi-holographic screens protruded, a black dark grey podium for the teacher in front of it, and dark grey metal doors, designed to provide a perfect environment for students to focus on the lesson without any distractions. A row of windows on the wall and bright white LEDs illuminating the space perfectly. The room was silent, except for the professor delivering his lecture, an occasional scoff from one of the students. It is theorized that by opening too many dimensional rifts at the same time, the shattering occurred, breaking through the dimensions. Many great scientists lost their lives that day, including the famous Eric Gawa, known for his theory of the omega position of particles between the veil, spoke the old man. Yet, we can't say their sacrifices were in vain. Can anyone tell me some positive things achieved in the last 2 years? Thomas Miyazaki was the head of research in the Central UFOPS Urban Development Facility and a history and science teacher for Class 1A. Not only as work, but also passionate about history, hoping new generations would learn from the past mistakes to some degree. Presenting himself as tall, distinct old man with short, grey haircut in a style with shaved sides, sporting a pair of old-school, round glasses on top of his nose, he didn't look his age at all. Looking at his straight posture, lively way he moves, and accent his sentences, No one would believe he is almost 80 years old. His age also didn't cloud his passion and hopes towards younger generations. Miku, what do you have? Replied to the raised hand professor, asking the quiet girl sitting at the end of the classroom near the window. Although her good grades and beautiful features made her very popular in the entire school, she wasn't very outgoing. Long silver hairs wrapped her head and well-built torso, her heterochromic amber-silver eyes, and light facial features, making her stand out even here. Medication have become very affordable to most people. Most complex operations have become trivial in the hands of skilled operators. Some of the most deadly diseases have been eradicated. Good observations, complimented his student professor. How about you, Yuki? Do you have anything to add? The professor directed his attention to the small and sickly boy in the middle, even though he didn't offer his hand. Skinny, pale, and coughing, he looked very out of place in this class, yet his grades proved otherwise. Dark brown, messy hair, deep-set, almost shaped blue eyes, a small nose, and dry, cracked lips. One could only wonder, with all the advancement in modern medicine, why was he so sick? New methods of production, less power and labor intensive, new sources of almost infinite energy, making it cheap and affordable, ended world hunger and cheap housing, incredibly reducing homelessness, also improving standards of living. Okay. I think that's plenty. Thank you both, but I cannot let you give all the answers. Looking down at his watch, he continued. As the lunch break grows closer, here is your home assignment. Write an essay about how the world changed in your opinion. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Anything that you have on your mind. It would be graded, so don't worry about it being right, since there are no wrong answers. As the last of his words appeared on student's tablet, the bell rang, making the classroom noisy again. Students started chatting and moving around. Some headed towards the cafeteria. Others pushed their desk together to eat with friends. Not everyone likes the noise, and the classroom tends to stay quieter. Unfortunately, not everyone has that comfort. Miku, due to her unique appearance and good grades, became a very popular person not only in her class, but also throughout the school. Even if she didn't come down to the cafeteria, she would be surrounded by her peers while trying to eat. Being fair, she was talented not only in academics. Unpacking her hard-made lunch was a treat in itself. Small rice balls covered with sesame, little vegetable treats on a toothpick, rolls with ham and salad, a fair bit of food with exquisite presentation. After a month in your school, it became a tradition to prepare a unique meal and share it with your friends. Lucky for her, Amy and Jane would take care of all the people disturbing their peaceful meal. On the other hand, there is Yuki, sitting alone, wearing his earphones and reading from his tablet. He doesn't eat during school, but he has to prepare lunch which is often on par with or greater than Miku's. Yet, the attention he receives for it is of a different kind. Yo, Yuki, no lunch today? Said Seth, pulling one of his earphones out. Seth was an ordinary bully, muscular, slightly beyond the new norm. With a fiery red tornado of a hairstyle on top of his handsome face, he stood out easily, having 3 henchmen with him as a part of his friend group, constantly following him. His main asset, however, was the prestige that allowed him to ignore some rules provided by his family position in the military. Considering Yuki's small posture and being very sick, he was a perfect target for him to pick on. He didn't fight it either, since it wasn't about her. Spending his energy on dealing with him day after day after day would accomplish nothing other than bring more hostility. It was already a miracle he got into this academy, so being on Seth's wrong side wasn't smart. No, sorry, I didn't have time in the morning to prepare a meal. You know what it means. I want carbonara pasta and a pulled pork sandwich. I also want one, and a veggie roll, and pulled pork for me. While the boys stated their order, a loud discussion started near Miku's desk. What a wimp. I have no idea how the two of you ended up together. Glad you came to your senses. Amy! Another girl raised her voice, in shock. What? It's true. Do you think someone as sick and weak and fit among us? The girl continued. I mean, this academy is not only military. We have a place for people of different interests, and if he got in, he deserves it. Just look at his grades, said the more reasonable of the two. Her name was Jane, and from the looks of it, she was the more considerate of the bunch. Green hair spilling over her shoulder, with a short bangs covering her green eyes partially. Muscular body, yet slender, under her school uniform. Amy had short messy crimson hair, with golden strands and was more of a tomboy. Her slightly tanned complexion only added to her charm. Body-wise, she was on the larger side, where her curves still broke through the shape of her muscles. Sitting comfortably at the middleweight, she was both athletic and very powerful. Instead of standard uniform consisting of a grey jacket with Uthop's mark on the chest, red tie, and a black short skirt, she opted for matching pants as the boys were. Even if it fell out of place compared to her surroundings, it suited her very well. Grades not grades. Empty pyramid he is of no use either way. Seth might be denser than concrete, but at least will be useful as a stove, joked Amy. Miku was completely unaffected by her rude remarks, and so was Yuki, leaving for the cafeteria. Seth, however, wasn't pleased. Slamming his hand hard on the desk, he stood up and started shouting. Oi, I think you really don't know when to shut up. Come on, Seth. We all know that without Yuki you will never pass a single test. No doubt you'll be a great soldier, but only if you decide to listen to someone for once, berated him Amy. Visibly enraged, he pushed the desk away and started to make his words towards the end of the classroom. Truth often hurts. This is precisely what Yuki tried to avoid all this time. What are you going to do about it? Coming closer to scare me? Dude, if you had a single cell used for thinking, you would know it wasn't any different than the hand-to-hand training. Give up, or do you want to go to the gym? Amy stood her ground firmly and continued making a joke out of him. Sensing his defeat, Seth indeed backed off. Scoffing under his breath, he muttered some words and left the classroom. Every Tuesday, students participated in hand-to-hand exercises, and Amy was the best in school. She had been training martial arts since she was little, which gave her an advantage, but she was still far from perfect. In her eyes, perfection doesn't exist, which is why she keeps training hard every day to be the best she can and to reach as close to it as possible. As of now, no one in the class could fully utilize the new powers, and to combine them into a fight was a task of entirely different difficulty. If you were to make a bet, however, who would be the first to do that? It would be Amy in most minds. That was ruthless, said Jane. We should be a team. If we cannot stop the infighting early, there is no way we can utilize our strength correctly, injected Miku. Amy might be right, but making enemies isn't really good either. You should be more careful around him. I heard his family is really influential. Maybe. Still, I won't back down from what I believe in, added Amy with a warm smile. Influential or not, being here gives me enough immunity so I can at least speak my mind. So, you want for Yuki to realize his potential by showing him his weakness? Asked curious Jane. No, he genuinely should drop out. He might be smart, but he will be eaten alive. Every day, he's sicker, making Seth least of his problems. Oh, by the way, do you even know what he has? Amy towards Miku. It was around the time you guys broke up when he started to get worse. I have no idea and would rather not think about it, dismissed its silver-haired girl. Yuki was her childhood friend, and now her ex-boyfriend, but no one really knew why they broke up. People speculate that it had to be something significant and are connecting it to his sickness. However, anytime the question is asked, Miku just brushes it off as something ordinary and uninteresting. Looking back at how they sat next to each other, laughed, and were a perfect couple and friends, it's bizarre to see Miku act as if she didn't recognize his existence, but it also made a few people happy. After 10 more minutes, Yuki came back to the classroom with food. Immediately, he was confused why Seth and his friends weren't there, but what could he do? Placing their order on corresponding desks, he went back to his seat and continued reading from his tablet. Although he could still hear some unfavorable comments and whispers about him from all around the class, he didn't pay them any mind. After all, he had empty powers, meaning it was a miracle he was even discovered and brought into this school in the first place. He also knew his reputation was bad because he was dating the most popular girl in the class, which made some of the other guys jealous. People with empty powers didn't experience any bodily growth, hair color change, or other developments, which made them harder to find compared to the rest. People with powers, typically around the age of 15, became taller and more muscular. Their natural hair color changed to resemble the power, making them stand out. People like Amy or Seth, with red influence, had the power to turn elements into heat resembling fire or lava. Jane had green influence, that allowed her to control the life forces of lesser organisms, such as plants, bacteria, and small animals. Miku had a diamond influence, which made her the polar opposite of Yuki's power. The ability to control her influence, adjusting it to suit her needs at the time, was scarce and highly sought after. The only influence that was rarer was the empty one. It had no special abilities and could not use any catalysts. Those instruments designed to help focus users' influence are repelled by his type, making it an anomaly and a huge scientific mystery. The situation becomes even more complicated, as there are fewer than 5 people worldwide with that power, and every time someone starts to conduct a research, it causes a severe illness in the person. Due to this and focusing funds on other matters, that research was deemed dangerous and a waste of resources for the time being. The connection between the sickness and research has never been proven, has not yet appeared in the public domain. It was just a symptom of the powers, as far as anyone was concerned. Still, his sickness was special. No one experimented on him, nor did they try to. He fell ill out of nowhere, as his grade improved and life lay in ruin.